Hi friends, welcome to another episode of Mountain Standard True Crime. I'm Michelle Carlson. Thank you for watching and or listening. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's free and helps us out a lot. During this episode, I'll cover everything we know so far about the disappearance of Utah Guardsman Matthew Johnson. He has not been seen or heard from since September 2024. And despite the fact that his body has not been recovered, his wife has been charged with his murder. This case might be disturbing to some and is not appropriate for children. All information shared on our channel is either from publicly available information and or official requests. Our views and opinions about cases on our vodcast are strictly that and are not to be interpreted as facts. Here we go. Utah National Guardsman Matthew Johnson was reported missing on September 23, 2024, after he didn't show up to work at his Utah National Guard base. This was highly unusual for him. The Guard was planning to list Johnson as AWOL, or absent without leave. The 5'9", 175-pound, 51-year-old with a shaved clean head was last seen on September 20th in the area of 3000 East Fort Union Boulevard in Cottonwood Heights, Utah. Matthew lived in the middle to upper class Cottonwood Heights City, which is located close to the beautiful Big and Little Cottonwood Canyons. He was married with 3 children from that marriage. On September 28th, 2024, Jennifer Gledhill, Matthew's wife, called Cottonwood Heights Police Department to report that her husband was missing. This was 5 days after the Utah National Guard reported him as a no-show. She told law enforcement that her husband had not been seen or heard from since they had a fight on September 20th. She also said that Johnson had told her he would be gone for a week and not to call him. 2 days later, on September 30th, his maroon Dodge 1500 pickup was found a few blocks from his home. On October 1st, police began requesting assistance from the public, asking for anyone who may have seen Johnson or may have information about him to come forward. Cottonwood Heights police said officers had previously been called to the family's home, and they knew the couple were considering getting a divorce. Matthew Johnson's divorce attorney, Brady Gibbs, told KSL-TV5 that, quote, "In the communications that I saw between them, there were a number of things that she called him, just horrible things, trying to elicit a response. And his response in a lot of that was, please leave me alone. Please think about what you're doing." Gibbs said that the home where they resided was Johnson's prior to their marriage and that the home was at the heart of the divorce dispute. He said they were fighting about the equity in the home and that Gledhill moved out of that home in March of 2024, so she wasn't even living there. A confidential informant reported to investigators that he had been having an affair with Jennifer Gledhill, and that on Sunday, September 22nd, she came over to his house, and she said that on the 20th, Matthew Johnson had come home and yelled at her because he knew that she had been sleeping with someone else. The informant said that Gledhill openly admitted to killing her husband by shooting him in the head as he slept inside the master bedroom of their home. She told the informant that she put Johnson's body into a rooftop storage container, slid him down the stairs of their home, and loaded his body into the back of their minivan. I don't think she would be able to do that by herself. If he was 5'9", 178 pounds, and from photos, she's obviously a few inches shorter than him and fairly slender, I really doubt she would be strong enough to pull that off solo. I mean, lifting a 178-pound tote into the back of a minivan by herself, I'm pretty damn strong for a woman, and I'm a lot bigger than she is, and there's no way I could do that. Absolutely no way. Gledhill said that she smashed Johnson's phone and hid his truck in a nearby neighborhood. She then said she took her husband's body north, dug a hole, and buried him in a shallow grave. Again, this is a lot for a single person to do, especially an average to smaller sized woman. The informant said that he noticed bruises all over her body And when he asked her about them, Gledhill said they were from moving Johnson's body and cleaning their house. The statement of a neighbor that lives within view of the Johnson-Gledhill home stated that on September 20th, 2024, she observed Matthew's truck backed into the garage, and that the night after, September 21st, and into the early morning of September 22nd, she could hear Gledhill and Johnson arguing. On October 2nd, 41-year-old Jennifer Gledhill was arrested for murder and obstruction of justice. Her husband, Matthew Johnson, had not had contact with anyone, including his children, since September 21st. His phone was going straight to voicemail. He never returned to work and left no evidence that would lead investigators to believe that he was still alive. So they were comfortable stating that he was likely deceased. The state of Utah requested that Gledhill be held without bail, stating, quote, "In this case, the defendant presents a substantial danger to the community and to the integrity of law enforcement's investigation if released on bail. Record searches reveal that the defendant had previously made unsuccessful attempts to secure a protective order against Matthew during the course of their marriage and was found by the court to be an instigator and one to goad Matthew into a response in order to get him in trouble. The state believes the defendant was very calculating in her crimes in that she arranged for the children to stay with her parents during the evening Matthew was killed. Investigation further revealed that she asked her parents to keep the children for another day, presumably while she was cleaning up the crime scene and disposing of Matthew's body. There is significant evidence that the defendant obstructed the investigation by removing the mattress she admitted to the informant that she had shot Matthew on while he was sleeping and replaced that mattress days later with a new one. Detectives noted through interviews that the cargo box was observed at the home on prior occasions and had since disappeared. Many of the informant's statements had been corroborated by other evidence, including her admission to burying him up north in a shallow grave, which is consistent with her cell phone travel on September 22nd, 2024. The location of the bloodstain is also consistent with where one would normally place their head on a mattress when sleeping. The gun described by the informant was also consistent with the gun hidden in a onesie that the infant would be clothed in at her parents' home. The informant reported that the defendant hid Matthew's truck in a nearby neighborhood, which was corroborated. Further, the bruising observed by the informant on the defendant's arms and legs were, as she stated to him, consistent with moving Matthew's body from the home into the cargo box and out of the home. The evidence is substantial, and if released, the state believes the defendant will continue her efforts to cover her crimes. Further, the defendant is a flight risk. The defendant told the informant that she would kill herself before spending her life in prison, or that she would flee to Indiana with her children. Due to the serious nature of the allegations, the defendant should be held in jail without bail. So, as far as I can find out, Johnson and Gledhill's children, ages 11, 7, and 5, have been in the custody of the Utah Division of Child and Family Services since their mother was arrested for the death of their father, Matthew Johnson, and she has been ordered by the court to have no contact with them. Investigators obtained information from electronic devices leading them to believe the remains of Johnson were at the same undisclosed location described by the informant. During the search of their home, investigators found a large blood-stained spot in the master bedroom carpet underneath the bed. Blood was also found on the bed frame slats, which supports what the informant told police. Police said evidence found at the scene supports that significant cleanup had taken place following the murder, including bleaching of the walls and using carpet cleaning supplies. A circular pattern on the carpet below the bed on the right side near the head of the bed tested positive for human blood. Also, the mattress located in the bedroom was found to be a new one. During a search of Gledhill's Chrysler Pacifica minivan, detectives located a black box containing 3 small cardboard cylinders that contained a powdered plant substance. Inside a black fanny pack were 6 Ziploc bags containing what appeared to be psilocybin mushrooms that appeared to be packaged for individual sale. As a side note, microdosing with magic mushrooms has become somewhat common in Utah, as I guess it has across the country. So that wasn't necessarily an unusual finding. Inside a white purse was $206 in a pocket in the interior of the purse. Detectives also noted that the back seats of the van were folded down, increasing the cargo capacity of the van. On October 15th, 2024, Salt Lake County District Attorney Sim Gill filed the following charges against Jennifer Gledhill for her alleged connection to the disappearance and apparent death of her husband, Matthew Johnson. The charges are 1 count of first-degree felony murder, 5 counts of second-degree felony obstruction of justice, 1 count of second-degree felony possession with intent to distribute, 1 count of third-degree felony desecration of a human body, and 1 count of third-degree felony witness tampering. More details about the case were shared with the public, including that the neighbor told police that on September 24, 2024, she saw the defendant's parents in the house cleaning and said that they did not leave the house until 11 p.m. When police confronted the defendant's parents about them being at the defendant's home on September 24th, her mother said she was only there for an hour. She also told police she had purchased a mattress from Amazon at the request of the defendant. The defendant's father said he didn't remember details of the day, except that he had been at the defendant's house for a short period of time. Detectives confronted the defendant's father about how long he was at the house and if he went into the master bedroom, and he responded, quote, "I did not go in where the incident happened." GPS data from the defendant's phone shows on the day that she told the informant she killed her husband, the defendant traveled to where her husband's truck was later found at around 6 a.m. That afternoon, GPS data put her in Davis County, which was a little bit farther north than where their home was, until her phone was turned off at around 2:37 p.m. The phone was turned on around 5 p.m. That's a significant amount of time and could definitely be enough time to load that cargo case out of the minivan and get rid of it, I guess. So anyway, her phone was turned on around again 5 p.m. as she was traveling eastbound on the West Davis corridor. Later that same day, the defendant's vehicle was captured on camera at a Holiday Oil on Highland Drive in Salt Lake County, which would be back closer to the home. The defendant thoroughly cleaned the car and opened all the doors. The defendant left the car wash at 11:07 p.m. and then went to the informant's house at 11:47 p.m., consistent with the timing that the informant told detectives. Detectives served a search warrant at the defendant's parents' home and found a plastic tote near the bedroom where the defendant would sleep while she stayed there. In the tote was a Glock 19X gun box that was green and tan in color, wrapped in a child's onesie. The gun container is consistent with the gun model and color, which she had shown to the informant loaded on September 19th, 2024. Blood below the bed was tested and shown to be from a single male source. Testing at this time was still underway to compare the single source to Mr. Johnson's DNA. The body of Matthew Johnson still has not been located. No one in Mr. Johnson's life has heard from him since September 21st, which is inconsistent with his pattern of life. Quote, "Our hearts go out to the loved ones of Mr. Matthew Johnson, not only a father and son, but a member of the Utah National Guard. Our office will continue to work closely with investigators as we seek justice for Mr. Johnson," end quote, said Salt Lake County District Attorney Sim Gill. And then he said, quote, "We appreciate Cottonwood Heights Police Department detectives working with our prosecutors as they work to collect the evidence necessary to file these charges. All persons accused of wrongdoing are presumed innocent unless and until proven in a court of law." So we're going to move on to this next section, which is some newer information than the first episode that we did. On Friday, October 18th, the affidavit for a search warrant previously requested by Cottonwood Heights Police was released with details showing that Gledhill had reached out to police to report a domestic violence incident on September 24th, one day after Johnson was reported missing. Gledhill told an officer that bruises, quote, "bruises were all over her body," and that she wanted them photographed. She told the officer on the night of September 20th, she and Johnson, who were separated at the time, began talking and, quote, "drinking whiskey." The two agreed to have consensual sexual intercourse that night. Jennifer informed the officer that due to the intoxication from the whiskey, she had a hard time recalling the events that took place after her and Matthew had sex, the warrant states. However, the man with whom Gledhill was having an extramarital affair told police that she admitted to shooting Johnson in the head on September 21st, and that when he noticed bruises on her arms and legs, she said they had come from, quote, moving Matthew's body and cleaning the mess in the house, end quote. According to the officer, Gledhill wasn't sure if she had lost consciousness or if she had simply gone to bed after she had allegedly been beaten. When asked why she didn't report the incident the next morning, Gledhill claimed it was because she had, quote, made a deal with Johnson that she had a, quote, long history of calling the police on Matthew for non-criminal altercations, and that Matthew had told her the police would not believe her if she called, end quote. On October 24th, Jennifer Gledhill's parents, Thomas Ray Gledhill, age 71, and Rosalie Christiansen Gledhill, age 67, were arrested. In addition to being suspected of helping to clean up the murder scene and purchasing a new mattress that was later picked up by Gledhill at her parents' home, according to a probable cause statement, Rosalie Gledhill told police she was at her daughter's home for less than an hour to pick up clothing. Neighbors told police they saw the woman at the home for more than 5 hours. Police took Rosalie Gledhill's phone to pull data about her whereabouts during that time, but they found that the phone had been remotely reset, losing all the data. Officials said they looked at Jennifer Gledhill's digital footprint after Johnson's disappearance. Police also said on September 22nd, when Jennifer Gledhill was suspected of driving north into Davis County to dispose of Johnson's body in a shallow grave, that the only call she made was to Thomas Gledhill, her father. The phone was then shut off for a few hours before turning back on. Court documents said she then called her father. Gledhill's parents were charged with 4 felony counts of first-degree obstruction of justice. They found a conversation between her and her father about the new mattress to be delivered to his home and later picked up by her. Court records show prosecutors have handed over forensic files, items linked to Gledhill's minivan, and a baggie discovered in the beautiful Little Cottonwood Canyon in Salt Lake County. While no murder weapon has been publicly confirmed, the discovery includes a Glock handgun. The discovery also lists cell phone screen grabs, call logs, email records, and activation logs for an iPhone and an iPad. Johnson's body has still not been found, leaving prosecutors to rely heavily on circumstantial and digital evidence to build their case. Gledhill appeared in court on October 25th, asking for the protective order banning her from having contact with her 3 children to be lifted. At the end of the hearing, Judge Adam Moe actually lifted the pretrial protective order, but issued a separate no-contact order to be put in place, which means Gledhill is still not allowed to communicate with the children. Moe said that as the case proceeds, he would be willing to carve out exceptions to the no-contact order, seeing as how it not only affects Gledhill, but the children as well. So the latest update is that she had a detention hearing on Friday, February 28th, 2025, where damning new evidence was presented and she was again denied bail. Prior to Salt Lake County District Attorney Emily Paulus began her argument as to why Jennifer Gledhill should remain held without bail, the mother of 3 and alleged murderer of their father was chatting casually with her defense attorney, Jeremy Deuce. I think that's how you say it. I hope that's how you say it. I didn't notice this the first time I watched the video of the hearing, but in the still shot that is in this video, to me, it looks an awful lot like they're flirting, but that's just my opinion. The state requested that Jennifer Gledhill continue to be held without bail due to the significant evidence that she murdered Matthew, and because there has been absolutely zero activity to show he is alive. No sightings, bank records, phone activity, nothing. The state reviewed the confession that Jennifer gave to a confidential informant with whom she had been having an affair, including that she had shot Matthew in the master bedroom as he slept after an argument, and that she smashed his cell phone and stashed his truck in a nearby neighborhood. She also confessed to the informant that she had loaded his body into a vehicle rooftop storage container, slid him down the stairs, and loaded him into the back of her minivan. Her confession included that she drove her husband's body north of Salt Lake City, Utah, and buried him in a shallow grave. We're going to walk through the state's exhibits presented in this hearing. State's Exhibit 1 is a Google Maps view of Jennifer's phone activity starting at their home on the early morning of September 21st, 2024, and ending at the exact location where Matthew's truck, Exhibit 2, was found on September 30th. I'm actually kind of surprised it took them that long to find the truck because it was parked fairly close to their home. According to the state, during the search of the Johnson Gledhill residence after Matthew had been reported missing by the Utah National Guard, police observed a new mattress on the master bedroom bed. The house smelled of bleach. There were white marks on the wall behind the bed in the master bedroom as if it had been wiped clean. There was blood underneath the bed and in the slats of wood underneath the mattress. Exhibit 3 is a cutout of the blood-stained rug from underneath the bed, and the stain was found under the position of where Matthew's head would have been where he normally slept on the bed. The state has video evidence of Matthew and Jennifer arguing in the bedroom that night. Exhibit 4 is a photo of blue star imaging glowing positive for human blood on the rug, and DNA evidence has confirmed that the blood is positively Matthew's. State's Exhibit 5 is a photo of blue star imaging glowing positive for human blood on the wooden slats of the bed. Exhibit 6 is mapping of Gledhill's phone on September 22nd, showing her driving from the Johnson Gledhill home in Cottonwood Heights to north of Kaysville City. Her phone was turned off for 2.5 hours that day, and businesses on that route had recorded video of her in the area. State's Exhibit 7 is new evidence, the rooftop storage container, which was discovered after a storm with the help of local military. Investigators think it floated from its origin due to the storm to where it was located. State's Exhibit 8 is a photo of the recovered storage container showing duct tape around it. Exhibit 9 is a photo recovered from Jennifer Gledhill's phone of an identical container outside of the Johnson Gledhill property near where the minivan was normally parked. Exhibit 10 is a photo confirming that the logo on both containers are the same. State's Exhibit 11 is a photo of blue star imaging showing positive for blood inside of the container that DNA has confirmed as that of Matthew Johnson. Exhibit 12 is evidence that was recovered from an area in northern Utah where GPS had tracked Gledhill as being at. The evidence recovered included the foam mattress from the couple's bed and bed pillows, rolled up in a rug from the home. Exhibit 13 is the same evidence as Exhibit 12, with the rug unrolled. Exhibit 14 is a photo of the master bedroom from the body cam footage from just a month prior to the murder. The photo shows a foam mattress and bed pillows believed to be the recovered evidence in Exhibits 12 and 13. Exhibit 15 is the rug that was wrapped around the foam mattress and pillows that were recovered unobstructed. And the final Exhibit 16 is a screenshot of a 2023 photo from Gledhill's phone. It shows Matthew relaxing on a sofa in a room with the same rug that has been recovered on the floor of the room. That photo is very haunting for a number of reasons, but because it shows him casually laying there on the couch, and the rug that they believe he may have been wrapped up in or discarded of, or that was discarded of because of his murder, is on the floor in that photo. Throughout the hearing, even with the presentation of the new damning evidence, Jennifer Gledhill remained emotionless. The state shared parts of a conversation between Gledhill and her former lover turned confidential informant that he had recorded. In those messages, Gledhill apologizes to him for telling him what had happened and asks him not to think of her as a monster and to remember her for who she was before she opened her mouth. The informant told her that he was, quote, frightened by what she had told him. The informant then asked her, quote, hypothetically, if the roles were reversed and I did something to someone and I told you that I carried it out, like you would be shocked and scared, wouldn't you? And Gledhill responds, well, not if I deserved it. I always preached that I was like the Queen of Hearts in my past lives because I was like, off with their heads. I'm like, if we could just round up the scum of this earth and put them on an island and just kill them all, I could shipshape this country back into a good place, which is kind of creepy and weird. She then goes on to claim that this is just a hypothetical situation and tells the informant, quote, I think that the fact you got scared of me, it broke my heart because I was like, wow, if you think that I could even hurt a fly, like he's not a person. He wasn't a person anymore. He wasn't Matt anymore. I think that's really disturbing. Like, she literally was viewing her husband and the father of her children as not a person anymore. And she said, wow, if you think that I could even hurt a fly, when she had just said, round up the scum of this earth and put them all on an island and just kill them all. I don't know. Wackadoodle. The state highlights that during this phone conversation, Matt had not been reported missing yet, and Gledhill was referring to him in the past tense when she stated, quote, he wasn't a person anymore. He wasn't Matt anymore. The state went on to argue that Gledhill presented a danger to the community and to the integrity of the ongoing investigation, as she had already obstructed justice by disposing of the evidence that she hid before she was arrested. The gun that they have video of her handling, and that matched the description of the gun she showed the informant still has not been found, nor has Matthew's body or the mattress that he was lying on when she shot him. The state reminded the court that Gledhill is a flight risk, and she had told the informant that she would kill herself before she went to jail or she would flee the state with her children. D.A. Paulos shared a letter that had previously been written to the judge by Matthew Johnson's family, pleading with the judge not to release Gledhill. The letter stated their belief that she has and would continue to tamper with evidence, that if she could kill the father of her children without remorse, that she could possibly kill her children. That has definitely happened before. And that the informant's life would be in danger. Given all of the information that he gave, I think that probably is a decent possibility. They would also have to live in fear if she were released, which I think is also a valid fear. The state asked the judge not to release Jennifer Gledhill on bail. Defense attorney Jeremy Deuce argued that the state had not met the requirement of proving substantial evidence to require Gledhill to continue to be held without bail because there is lack of a body and lack of a murder weapon, and stated that Matthew is, quote, a highly trained special forces officer with several tours of combat under his belt and is equipped with abilities your standard citizen simply does not have. These abilities and experience give multiple explanations and possibilities that have nothing to do with Miss Gledhill as it relates to his disappearance, end quote. It sounds to me like he's alleging that that Matthew just pulled the disappearing act, but there's really no evidence to support that. There's a lot more evidence to support the theory that Jennifer murdered him. The defense went on to argue that the court had an opportunity to see what the storage container looked like, and that, this is bombshell number one, quote, the possibility of Miss Gledhill being able to fit a full-grown man inside that container, to me, seems difficult and limited, and I do think it cuts against their argument of substantial evidence. In our initial episode on this case, I raised the point, and I talked about it earlier in this episode too. There's no way she could have lifted a container with his full body inside of it into her minivan by herself. She could probably have pushed it out of the minivan by herself, and then possibly drug it or kicked it to another location when she was trying to dispose of the body. But she would have had to have had help lifting the case into the minivan if his entire body was in there. We also have to consider the option that maybe his body was not fully intact when it was placed in the container and could have been placed in there during different trips to the minivan. I have heard that this is the case, that he was dismembered before being removed from the home, which is just a horrible thought. And for his family, friends, and especially his children, I hope that this is not the case. And I really hope that his body is recovered so that they know exactly what happened to him. The defense stated there was very little DNA found in the storage container, and that in regards to the mattress topper, bed pillows, and rug, he has yet to have been provided with DNA evidence. And here's bombshell number 2 that I caught. Listen very carefully to this recording.
It also found a rug, foam mattress topper, and a pillow. What hasn't been provided to me and what I didn't hear the state talk about today is on this mattress topper and on these pillows where this alleged murder is said to have happened, I have yet to see any sort of confirming DNA or blood evidence as it relates to those. And it's the same thing with the rug. So even though those things are confirming of potentially someone, potentially Miss Gledhill, disposing of those things, it's not really on its face evidence of the murder, of the alleged murder.
Did you catch it? The defense attorney just said, quote, "It's not really on the face evidence of the murder," and then corrected himself by saying, "of the alleged murder." So is that a Freudian slip? I find it very interesting. He said, quote, "It's not really on the face evidence of the murder." So let that sink in. The judge did rule that the state had met their burden of substantial evidence for the no bail hold to remain in place, as Jennifer Gledhill remains a substantial danger to the informant as well as to the community, and therefore denied her bail. On Friday, March 14th, the judge set a date for her trial. Jury selection is expected to begin on December 8th, with the trial following immediately after and possibly running through December 15th, 2025. Our hearts go out to Jennifer and Matthew's children and Matthew's friends and family. Again, we hope that his body is recovered so that they can know exactly what happened to him, as sad and tragic as it will be. Again, we'll keep you informed of any updates in this very sad, disturbing, and tragic case. As always, thanks for watching and or listening. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's free and helps us out a lot. And please share our episodes and share our channel. There really are true crime fans everywhere. You can also follow us on Spotify. Until next time, please be aware of your surroundings, stay safe, and take care of yourselves.